Doom, typeset as Doom in all caps in official documents, is a 1993 science fiction horror-themed first-person shooter video game. Developed by id Software, it is considered one of the most significant and influential titles in the video game industry for having ushered in the popularity of the first-person shooter genre. The original game was divided into 3 9-level episodes and was distributed via shareware and mail order. The Ultimate Doom, an updated release of the original game featuring a 4th episode, was released in 1995 and sold at retail. In Doom, players assume the role of an unnamed space marine who became popularly known as Doom Guy, fighting his way through hordes of invading demons from hell. With 1/3 of the game, 9 levels distributed as shareware, Doom was played by an estimated 15 to 20 million people within 2 years of its release, which is staggering. Popularizing the mode of gameplay and spawning a gaming subculture. In addition to popularizing the FPS genre, it pioneered immersive 3D graphics, networked multiplayer gaming, and support for customized editions and modifications via packaged files in a data archive known as WADs. As a sign of its effect on the industry, first-person shooter video games from the genre's boom in the 1990s, helped in no small part by the game's release, became known as Doom clones. Its graphic violence, as well as satanic imagery, made Doom the subject of controversy. Doom, gentlemen.
Doom.
The first game I ever played.
Really?
The very first video game I ever played.
Shame on your family.
I was raised correctly. I was sat down in front of my father's old MS-DOS computer when I was but a wee chap. Sat on his lap with a can of Coke in hand and was thrust into this world of satanic demons in space,
pentagrams and whatnot.
Yeah, and like words, like phrases such as knee deep in the shores of the dead and stuff like this. And this is the I can't believe it's taken us this long to get to this, because this...
Well, there's a lot of games out there.
It is this game's fault that I am the way I am, that I play video games.
Alright.
Arguably, it is also why I'm desensitized to violence.
Yep. Fair enough.
It is also probably why I am almost nightmare-proof at this stage, is because at that age I was playing shit that looked like that.
Giant spider brains.
Because in the early... Because, like, it looks its age now, but back then, this was the realest shit.
It still looks pretty good.
But it doesn't look dated in a bad way, but it does look dated. It's clearly something from the 90s.
I think it's aged more gracefully than GoldenEye.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, yeah.
It has, but because, like, with the 3D graphics, like, the frame rate holds much better.
Yeah. Well, it depends on which version you play.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Where do you even start about Doom, right? Doom is, like, the Mac Daddy, the godfather of multiplayer shooting. I would argue, until Modern Warfare 1, it is possibly the most influential shooter in the history of video games.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the most influential games.
With the possible exception of something like maybe Quake is on a par with it, or depending like in the same...
Depending on the angle you want to go from. But
yeah, and obviously you can say it shares a lot of shares a lot of influence with it as well, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But
here's the thing. So, Doom is Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
But with atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's the key difference.
So way better, because like it's a thing that tracks through to my playing of video games now, is that atmosphere is first and foremost for me in games like this. Gentlemen, before I this turns into a very didactic book club segment. Mm-hmm. Experiences, interactions with Doom. Brian.
A long time ago, I played
in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, south of there, near Castle Dermot.
So yes.
Yeah. Like in the days before I had consoles and when the only PC games I played were RTSs, I sampled Doom and Quake. Like I didn't play FPSs until I hit the consoles, which was, well, a long time ago, but a lot later than that. Mm-hmm. So limited, can't say I ever finished it, can't say I ever played more than a couple of hours, like. But I mean, I've played Doom clones like in college on my laptop and things, and it's unmistakable. Like,
yeah.
You know, it is quintessential, iconic when you see a Doom club or when you see Doom, you know that's Doom. There's no ambiguity there. There's no second guessing. There's no, is it or is it? No, it's Doom.
Yeah, you can see Doom's DNA in almost every shooter that's followed in history. Like, just in terms of, like, it just boggles the mind that multiplayer online shooters weren't a thing till Doom whacked its dick on the table and then what up, right?
Big red demon dick.
That's, like, this was where it started.
Oh, no, wait,
so,
right.
in some respects, you can blame Doom now for the fact that you're getting schooled by 10-year-olds who are saying all sorts of things they'll do to deceased family members, right? That, like... You know, for better or worse, the entire shooter genre has to bow down at the altar of Doom. It's going back and playing it now, depending, again, like you said, depending on what version you play. I played through Steam a little bit, you played through Steam a little bit. I still insist there's a reasonably good GBA port of it. You had particularly harsh words to say about the SNES port of it, is it?
Well, what I was going to say, to carry on from Brian in terms of my...
Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
No, that's right. My original experience. So I didn't have a PC growing up. My original introduction to Doom came with the PS1 version.
Right.
Up until that point, I had played, mostly in my lifetime, a lot of Micro Machines, Mega Man, Mario... A little bit of Zelda, a little bit of Donkey Kong, bright, colourful, whatever.
Solid.
And then I'm sat down and I'm introduced to Doom. And it terrified me. Because I am quite the bitch.
Yeah.
I am, and I'm self-certified with that.
I'll do that. I remember at the age of, and like this is part of, like, I remember getting school reports home when I was in early primary school, saying that, like, I had an unnaturally large vocabulary for a child my age and stuff like that. Like, I remember doing things like going through all the readmes on MS-DOS, explaining, like, the lore behind the demons and stuff like that. Like, which explains, like, why I knew what the phrase rigor mortis meant when I was about 4 or 5, apparently, according to my auntie, who, like, frequently tells that story at family get-togethers. But, like, I'm just looking at it just to talk about. Go on, yes, sorry.
I'm just going to stop you there because we're recording this in dim lighting,
and my face is illuminated by the laptop.
And there's like a red corona around your irises, like the reflection of flames in those glasses.
Damn right, it's the fires of passion, my friend. Just to go through the list of places this is available, right? The Doom is available. So it's available on MS-DOS, NextStep, OS2, IRIX, Solaris, Mac OS, Linux, Windows, Acorn, at the Atari Jaguar, Sega 32X, SNES, PlayStation, 3DO, Sega Saturn, Game Boy Advance, Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, the Tapwave Zodiac, and the iPhone and iPod Touch.
What was the second last thing?
I have no idea.
To be fair, it's a terrible port on at least half of those.
Yeah, but, like, it just goes to show that, like, people will still play Doom.
Yeah, well,
like, in whatever way they can get it.
I mean, it's, as you said, it's so friggin' influential, and, like, as I've been saying about when we were talking about the new Doom game coming out, maybe not so much Doom, but where that shot to with Quake and Unreal in terms of, like, the arena shooter. That's where my passion comes in. But when I was doing my video game design course, Doom was a game where, in terms of exploration, you know, it's not just a shooter. It's, you know, you have these maps that you have to explore, and you have to find the red key card or whatever to find that door that's locked to get you onto the next area.
I fucking hated that shit.
And there's that progression where you have your kind of like guards who have been possessed, who are just your kind of cannon fodder. And there's that next level up to the demons that have their projectiles, and you can see that progression through the maps that you have to explore and the secrets to the enemies.
I think it's safe to say that John Carmack, the creator of Doom, is an evil genius.
Yes, he is.
It is certainly, like, I do hear that not just from you, the idea that it is, like, a really good template for how to build a game.
Oh, absolutely.
It is an incredible case study.
Yeah.
In terms of, like you said, the enemy progression, the way the maps are laid out and stuff like that, it's very, very, especially at the time, it was very, very unique. Like, because, you know, you're talking about the majority of games at this point are side-scrolling, point to point.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very, and I've said this word already on this podcast, I don't mean to double up, but labyrinthine, like, kind of, like, it's not very obvious which way you have to go at any one time. Like it will be for the seasoned player who can I can get to the end of most levels by muscle memory at this point. Like if I fired up the game, I could remember where the end of it. I don't have to like try and find the end. But the key card system for getting through, it's not just like where you can access every area of a level from the start. You have to go find the MacGuffin to get you through to the second part and then to the third part and stuff like that. And nice, it is probably the first game where there's enough of a variation in weaponry that it gives you
weapons.
Multiple ways to approach combat situations.
Yeah, like the weapons that you use.
Like the pistol that only chumps use.
Yeah. But as you said, the weapons can very much vary how you play the game. You know, the shotgun is that kind of crowd control room. Yeah. But then you've got the chain gun, which can sort of help kind of clear out the kind of bullet sponges.
You've got the bazooka, which just looks like a barrel that shoots fire and death.
Yeah, and then those few moments where you get to use like the rocket launcher or the BFG.
Oh, the BFG. Which, by the way, can I just say, as an aside, and I'm loath to mention it, but the Doom movie... Right.
Underappreciated gem.
No.
There
are two moments in that are awesome.
The first person sequence?
The first person sequence is the best first person sequence ever. It's amazing because it's proper. He's moving like Doom Guy as he's going along. The other part is like there's a whole thing throughout the game. It's like BFG. What does BFG mean? And then the Rock finds it and goes BFG. Big fucking gun. Right, popped for that when I saw the movie. Other than that, dog shit. Yeah. I'll not hear a good word said about it, Brian.
Oh man, Karen Urban.
No, it's awful.
And like other things.
It's awful, yeah, not that one though.
Going back to one of the things we said about it being atmospheric.
Yes.
Like for a game in 1993.
To have atmosphere.
You sit down, you put some headphones on, you've got that soundtrack. Not just that, but you've got the screams and the howls of the enemies, and they all have distinctive sounds. Yeah. So it's one of those games like so early on where you're in a room or there's a room coming up and you can't see, but you can hear what's coming. Can
I say also a favourite weapon of mine when I think about it, the plasma gun.
Oh, plasma.
That's badass.
Oh,
Continue.
But like even in 1993, because there are games today that don't even have that, you know, like and as well. This kind of open-ended, almost kind of open-world labyrinth, as you say, type environment to explore. You know, a lot of first-person shooters today are very linear, but this, you know, you are free to explore on your own merit.
And like some of the settings, like you see like the scorched skies, and you see like the pools of lava or acid, and you see like bodies in the distance impaled on spikes, and like. There's nothing, right, that quite compares to the first time. Now, obviously, I would have been a lot younger than either of you when this happened. There's nothing that quite compares to the unique terror of the first time you're cornered in a room and you meet your first Kaku demon. Mm-hmm. This just massive ball of evil with horns shooting fireballs at you and shit like this that like is just floating towards you real creepily. Or the flaming skulls, it's incredible. Like you said, the atmosphere that's created in this game, all the satanic imagery, just everything about it. Like it's just, it is a landmark in video games for a reason. It is one of the things I really like about it, and it's a thing that follows true to today. It's a thing I really appreciate when it's in first-person shooters, that it moves quickly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no sense of dragging. There's no sense of like, okay, this is just stalling because the game can't fucking load the draw distance, or like it's moving slowly just for dramatic tension or something like that. Like again, the problem I have with Gears of War about it, you feeling like a roller cage full of cinder blocks. Like it just, you zip around that map.
Yeah.
You know, you run around it, like, and it makes it very dynamic to try and like, you know, you can kind of strafe around enemies and stuff like that.
And you know what? It's even now in 2016, the animation and the killing of someone is very, very satisfying. You know, the animation of when they just fucking blow up with a
firing
shotgun.
off around the shotgun, seeing a little bit of smoke come up, and just the body crumple.
Not satisfying.
Yeah. Interestingly, that it is like that there is such profound gore and all these kind of like, again, horribly violent and satanic images in it. And yet it wouldn't be till then. It wasn't the bugbear of the kind of US government in the way the Mortal Kombat was, which is strange.
No, well, it's probably,
which is strange to me.
It's not to me. It's
What?
not to me. I can see.
No, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't.
No, but I can see the very clear demarcation between the gore of Doom and the gore of Mortal Kombat.
But you're talking. But the point I'm making, and I probably didn't make it well enough, is that you got to think about this is during the 90s, which was the time of the Satanic Panic in the US.
Yeah, but I think
anything linked to Satanism was the worst.
I still think that Doom was on the undercurrent. You know,
It was
because it was hidden away on the PC, which is considered for grown-ups very much at the time. I'll give you that.
Mortal Kombat was the thing that, oh look, this is Sonic. Oh wait, this is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's on the console that Sonic and Mario are on. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Capcom versus Nintendo.
Like it was
Sonic
again
versus Sub-Zero.
The id canon are what raised me on video games. Like the three games I played first: Doom, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and Commander Keen. Mm-hmm. And then like the idea that years later there's someone in id confirmed that it is a shared universe.
Yeah.
Which is fucking mental. Like it's so mental that they're all Blazkowicz family members. Yeah. Which is awesome. But yeah, it's like it's impossible. You can't overstate enough. Like you can't how important it is to the history of video games.
Like it's one of those games. If you're gonna say top 5 or top 10 most influential games or top 10 most important games, it's you have to go somewhere to convince someone that Doom shouldn't be on this list.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things where, like, if you ask somebody in the 90s, true to possibly, well, maybe not today with the kind of, like, how much kind of gaming has taken over popular culture, but if you'd certainly asked, up to the turn of the 2000s, he's just a random person on the street who wasn't a gamer. Name 5 video games. There's a good chance Doom was going to be one of them.
Potentially, yeah.
You know, after Sonic, Mario, the well starts to run dry for most people. They might say Mortal Kombat because of the press controversy, and then like Doom is kind of like amongst my friends who aren't gamers anymore, they still remember Doom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they just remember it. It was talked about. It was the kind of game that like you were cool if you played because it was a grown up game and we were kids. So like I was unusually cool in that regard.
Yeah. I think definitely just like from what I said at the start though that what gives this game such an appeal is the fact that it has aged gracefully, you know.
It really you played it last night on Steam.
Yeah,
playing it on Steam on like a reasonably powered PC on a 40-inch screen in like through HDMI port, and it like looked at home.
I mean, I played your Game Boy Advance version. That runs fine. That it's kind of awkward to control with a D-pad.
Yeah.
The SNES and Mega Drive ports are fucking garbage.
Yeah.
There is one port, I can't remember, I think it might be the 32X version or the Jaguar version, and it has no sound. It's one of the smoothest running versions, but there's no music, and it actually makes it that little bit more scarier, because all you've got is like the howls of the enemies and kind of screaming around the arenas. So that's a pretty cool version. But yeah, for the most part, like get your hands on the Steam version, or the 360 version actually runs really well as well.
Yeah. If I was to think about an elevator pitch for this to sum it up, because I can't really, especially for the time, when I look at it in the context of the time it came out, I can't really find faults in it at all.
6 words. That's your elevator pitch. What 6 words?
Oh, no, that's not what we do. We're not changing the
No,
rules
I'm literally, because I'll tell you the 6 words.
If you play video games, you play Doom.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's your favorite?
This is where it all began.
Yeah. Basically, if you play video games, if you have any interest in the history behind video games at all, it is utterly criminal for you to not have looked at Doom. Doom is available in enough formats and is available cheaply enough that you can pick it up on Steam. It doesn't require, like, I could play it quite competently off my laptop.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? It doesn't require the most amount of horsepower to play in the world.
Boy, was it nice to go back and play something where you need to pick up health packs again.
Yeah, right. It is, like I said, it is one of the most important video games in history. It still plays great today. It's not like some of the PS2 games. Like when we played Mad Max on this show, that game does not fucking hold up at all.
Yeah. Max Payne, you mean?
What did I say?
Mad Max.
Yes, Max Payne. Sorry, my apologies.
Sorry?
Yes, Max Payne does not hold up. Like it does not. It when Brian tried to play Manhunt, you know what I mean? These are famous examples of like us going back to games that aren't even that long ago, and it's hard to play them now, knowing like the way controlling video games is developed now. You go back to Doom and it's second nature. It's so simple. It's so simple how it controls. And to sum it up in a sentence, how important this game is in my life, how influential this game has been, and I keep saying this to you off the air, I still know the cheat codes to Doom in my head. I still have them 20 years later. I know that IDKFA is going to unlock all the weapons and get your keys and shit like that. I think it's IDDQD is the God mode cheat where you're invincible and you have like unlimited ammo and shit like that. It's like if I sat down and thought about it, I could get you. There's a code. There's a one called ID Behold, and then you follow it with one letter, and depending on the letter, you can unlock the radiation suit, and you can brighten up the game and things like that with that cheat code. Like that's how into this game I was at that age. Yeah. That's how important this game is for me.
Look where you are now.
Yeah, it is on my Desert Island discs for video games. It is on my. I doubt it will ever move from my top 10 favorite games of all time. It is that important to me.